WETS.
Welcome to another week of WETS. This weekend I've got another rock and roll t-shirt for you from a concert I went to for the band Block Party. It was back at the end of 2008. I initially hadn't actually planned on going to see them. I didn't even know who they were at the time, but my mate Tim had some spare tickets and was asking if anyone wanted to go, so I thought, sure, why not? Always up for a new band. Gave them a listen. Actually not that bad. And I also went with my girlfriend, although she wasn't my girlfriend at the time, although this was probably technically our first date. So sorry Tim for third wheeling you unintentionally. There are actually two support bands. I can't remember the first one, but the second one, Van She, I'm not sure if they're still around, just an Australian band. I had no idea who they were, but before they were about to come out, which they took ages doing, the crowd was going absolutely nuts. When they came out, it was so intense in the mosh pit. This was actually my first concert in a mosh pit as well. I'd been to a couple previously, but I was in seating tickets. So I knew mosh pits were obviously, had a reputation for being wild and full on, but everyone was just getting absolutely squashed. So Tim, Caitlin and myself, we moved further back, and so we didn't get quite as squashed. And then when Block Party finally came out, the crowd pushed forward even more, so I'd hate to be up the front, but it gave us a bit of room to sort of get back closer in whilst not getting suffocated. And all in all, it was a really good night. It was my first joint offering as well. Caitlin and I were standing, I think Tim got a little bit separated at one point, and this dude in front of us just started smoking a joint, and then turned around to me and Caitlin and asked if we would like some. So we just sort of walked away. He was a bit of a weird guy, but you never forget your first joint offering. As for the shirt itself, it sort of became a tradition when I went to concerts to buy a shirt. Once you start doing something 3 or 4 times, then it sort of becomes a habit or a tradition depending on what it is. And so this being my 4th concert, of course I had to buy a shirt. They didn't actually let me keep a ticket. That's another tradition that I sort of have, is keeping all the ticket stubs from any sort of large events I go to. And this one, they just took it, ripped the stub off, but then threw both bits in the bin. So I was a bit pissed at that, but doesn't really matter. It's just a bit of paper. I still managed to get the shirt. I thought green was a nice change. I'm not sure they even had a black one, but if they did, I guess I didn't get it for a reason. And the art's actually quite interesting. So here's a photo of it. And it's sort of a silhouette of all the band members, but rather than being, I guess, a black shade or outline of them all, it's white, which just sort of, I guess, changes the effect a bit, given that silhouettes are obviously normally black. And where they overlap each other, you can just see there's a bit of a green outline to separate them. And the overall effect, it actually looks really cool, I reckon. One thing I never quite got with Block Party is why they spell it just with a C and not CK in the block. But could say the same thing with Chili Peppers, why they just do 1 L instead of 2. Or countless other bands, why they misspell their name. I guess it just makes it more unique. What's interesting is, even though this is a tour shirt, there's actually nothing on the back. Most concerts or shows or whatever that I've been to, if they have a specific tour shirt, you'll have promo art on the front of the band or the artist or whatever, and then on the back you've got all your tour dates. This shirt, however, nothing on the back, just the front. So all in all, nice shirt. I quite like it, and that brings me to the end of another week. Enjoy your weekend. I know I will, and I'll see you next week.